Greetings, family. Peace and love to you and yours. This is Guru, and thanks for visiting my channel. Well, family, this video is about a NeanderThug, white male who pleads not guilty to killing kids riding a stolen dirt bike. The Long Island man accused of mowing down two teens who stole his brother's dirt bike, killing both in broad daylight with his minivan, has pleaded not guilty to reckless endangerment. Christopher Bouchard, 27, was ordered and held on $200,000 cash bail or $400,000 bond on Friday during his arraignment in First District Court in Central Islip, according to Newsday. He was arrested Wednesday shortly after the crash on Montauk Highway in North Bellport. The crash happened on Montauk Highway near Duane Highway in Bellport around 10:15 a.m. Thursday, Suffolk County cops said. Quote, all evidence right now is that the van was pursuing the dirt bike, unquote, a Suffolk County police source said. Quote, the guys in the van had reported the dirt bike stolen. So right there, he was in the van with someone else. They didn't mention in this article so far, I don't see where they've mentioned the other person who was in the van with him, but I would imagine that whoever it was with him is an accomplice, because it doesn't appear that the person was probably not trying to talk him out of doing what he did. But let's continue. Witnesses have recalled seeing Bouchard driving rapidly behind the two victims after spotting them both on his brother's stolen dirt bike. While pursuing the pair, he hit the back of the motorcycle, sending both men flying. So basically what he did was, as you can tell already, is once he went out and pursued the perpetrators. Instead of just leaving it to the police, this guy, he went out and committed vigilante justice. That's what he did. And in this case, it's a vigilante murder. This man shouldn't be just charged with reckless endangerment. He should be charged with murder. Someone died in this situation that he caused. He caused it with his actions, by his actions. Several people told Newsday that Bouchard, who was with his brother Brian, appeared to intentionally strike the bike. So they did name who he was in the van with, and that was his brother. So his brother should be charged with this as well. So the two teens on the dirt bike, ages 19 and 20, were traveling in the westbound lanes when the minivan, traveling in the opposite direction, cut across the double yellow line, apparently to block their path, sources said. The dirt bike then slammed into the minivan, sending both men flying. One was killed, and the other is in critical condition at Stony Brook University Medical Center, officials said. When the police arrived, they found the dirt bike had been partially placed into the rear of the van, as you can see pictured here. The two men who were riding in the van were taken into custody at the scene, Suffolk County Police said. The driver of the van, as I mentioned his name, Christopher Bouchard, was identified as Mastic Beach resident. He is expected to be charged later Thursday, police officials said. Well, we already know they charged him with reckless endangerment, but as I stated, he also should be charged with aggravated murder. This was a vigilante justice. He had already reported the incident to the police. There was no cause and no reason for him to go out and carry out justice on his own. And what he did was purely reckless and intentional. So at the end of this one article, it's so pathetic because it says that Officials could not immediately say if Bouchard intentionally caused the accident or whether he was the owner of the dirt bike. Well, we already know that the dirt bike belonged to his brother. That's already been stated. It's already a known fact. And then the second part is we know that he intentionally caused the accident because he used his vehicle and he intentionally drove recklessly across the double yellow lines into oncoming traffic to cause this accident, which ultimately caused the murder of a teen. And also let it be known that his brother, who was identified as Brian, was never detained. So, quote, the defendant sped up when the motorcycle slowed down, Suffolk County Assistant District Attorney Raymond Ferrulo explained in court. Quote, they turned to look at the minivan, he said. The minivan at a high rate of speed then crossed two lanes, a center turning lane, and into the oncoming traffic lane where it struck the rear of the motorcycle, causing the two gentlemen to fly off the motorcycle. Bouchard's lawyer, John Halverson, of course, told Newsday his client never meant to harm anyone. Now understand his lawyer. His lawyer is, he's a typical shark. Lawyers don't really tell the truth. They just want to get paid. And in this case, his lawyer is saying that it was his client never meant to harm anyone. Well, sure he did. He used his car as a weapon and he recklessly crossed double yellow lines, even went into a turning lane just to strike the motorcycle. Lawyers, and in this case, this white supremacist is protecting this NeanderThug. That's all he's doing. He's protecting the NeanderThug. And last but not least, he says, quote, it's an absolute tragedy, and there was never any intention to hurt anybody, he said. He was charged with reckless endangerment, which is not an intentional crime. And I can tell you, after speaking with my client, there was no intent to hurt anybody, unquote. Now, again, that's what his lawyer says, but that's BS. The victim, who is now dead, his name was Keenan King, 19, of Shirley. He was pronounced dead at the scene, and his passenger, Anthony Holmes Guresk, 20, of North Bellport, was gravely injured. He later died at Stony Brook University Hospital. So let's get this straight. I'm just trying to understand. It says that Anthony, the 20-year-old of North Bellport, was gravely injured. And then it says he later died at Stony Brook University Hospital. So let's understand that there were two victims who died in this case. And they're just trying to charge this NeanderThug with reckless endangerment. No, he has murder charges. He killed two people. He has murder charges. Now, what's sad is how it says that the police are reportedly still investigating the incident and trying to decide whether Bouchard intentionally struck the bike. Well, that's only obvious from the witnesses and from his actions. The actions of his vehicle and the path that vehicle took to reach these victims. They're now dead because of his actions. He should be charged with aggravated murder. This is a capital crime. He shouldn't be charged with, it's not a capital crime, but he shouldn't be just charged with reckless endangerment. But this is how white supremacy do. This is how it works. This young man here, 19 years old, and the other victim as well, Anthony Guresk, 20 years old, they still should be alive. Yes, they should be in jail for sure because of their actions. That's the responsibility that they own. Their actions, what they did. But the actions of this vigilante white male, 27-year-old, he was old enough to know better, old enough to know that what he was doing was actually intentional and it was wrong, and it's murder. And if the court system, the kangaroo courts across America, the KK kangaroo courts across America, if they keep allowing people to get away with this type of behavior, we have sunken to the lowest of lows. I mean, the rest of the world is probably looking at Americans like, what the F is wrong with us? And these white racists who are free, who should be locked up in the jails, they're constantly allowed to remain free and cause these type of incidents because we live in a white supremacist society. And so when people come to your channels and come and they say these things that no, it's not, and all this stuff, save it. So yes, this young man, he does own part of the responsibility, but not for death, not for murder. And that's exactly what happened to him. So rest in peace, Kenan King, and rest in peace, Anthony Holmes Gareske. I hope I didn't chop up his name. It's spelled Garriques. He was 20 years old of North Belport. And it says he later died at Stony Brook University Hospital. So there were 2 victims who died. And if I'm not mistaken, then we're talking about 2 European white NeanderThugs who killed 1 black man, and I'm gonna have to assume that his friend with him was either black or Mexican. This man here should be charged with murder. No doubt at all. Christopher Bouchard. This man is guilty of murder. Yes, it was an intentional act. And for the police or any other white people to be asking the question of whether it was intentional or not, when the witnesses have already said that, and based on the line of mobility that he had to go to cause this accident, it was certainly an intentional act. And last but not least, please, any white people that have anything to say, if you have anything to defend this man with, then I have to ask you, what type of IQ level do you have? Because you guys always claim that you have high IQs, but it's always hard for you to figure out some of the most simplest things. I'm going to end this off now. Thanks for watching. Peace and love to you and yours. And until the next video, take care of yourself.